Welcome to English Avenue YouTube, the channel to learn English the easy way. Let's start. Some view him as a courageous pioneer who bridged the gap between two worlds, while others see him as a symbol of conquest and destruction. But who was he really? By the end of this story, you will have a clearer picture, and I invite you to share your own thoughts in the comments. Was he a hero or a villain? Your perspective matters. This is not just a history lesson. This is an expedition into the past, told in a simple yet engaging way, perfect for improving your English while uncovering the truth behind one of history's most debated explorers. So sit back, relax, and let's set sail into the life and legacy of Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was born in 1451 in the bustling city of Genoa, located in present-day Italy. However, at the time, Italy was not a unified nation, but a collection of independent city-states, each thriving in trade and commerce. Genoa was among the most significant ports in Europe, a gateway to the Mediterranean, where merchants dealt in spices, silk, and gold from distant lands. Columbus was born into a family of wool weavers. His father, Domenico Colombo, was a wool merchant, while his mother, Susanna Fontanarossa, was a skilled weaver. They were hard-working but not wealthy, living a modest life. Unlike most children in Genoa who followed in their family's trade, young Columbus was different. He was fascinated by the sea, drawn to the towering ships that came and went, carrying goods and stories from far-off lands. He would often run to the docks, eagerly listening to the sailors' tales of the mysterious and uncharted world beyond the horizon. However, the path to becoming a sailor was not easy, especially for someone from a humble background. In those days, only the wealthy had the privilege of exploring the seas. Yet Columbus was relentless in his pursuit of knowledge. He immersed himself in the study of cartography, mathematics, and astronomy, realizing that understanding maps and navigation was key to reaching his dreams. He even taught himself Latin, the language in which all critical texts on geography and exploration were written. At just 14 years old, he set sail for the first time, working aboard a merchant ship. The sea was dangerous, filled with unpredictable storms, pirates, and rival naval forces, but Columbus thrived in this environment. Over the next decade, he journeyed across the Mediterranean, learning the intricacies of navigation and seamanship. It was during these voyages that a radical idea began to take shape in his mind, an idea that would challenge the beliefs of his time and alter history forever. During the 15th century, trade with Asia was one of the most lucrative businesses. The demand for exotic spices, luxurious silk, and precious gold was immense. However, getting to Asia was not easy. The Silk Road, the primary land route, was controlled by the powerful Ottoman Empire, making travel both dangerous and expensive. The alternative was to sail around Africa, a long and treacherous journey. Columbus had an entirely different proposition. What if he sailed west across the Atlantic Ocean to reach Asia? Since the Earth was round, he reasoned, he would eventually arrive on the other side. Though the idea seemed logical, most people dismissed it as foolish. The Atlantic was vast, filled with unknown dangers. Many believed the ocean was endless, populated with sea monsters, or that ships would simply fall off the edge of the world. But Columbus was undeterred. He needed funding and ships to test his theory, so he turned to the most powerful rulers of the time. First, he approached the King of Portugal, but his request was denied. Undiscouraged, He sought the support of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain. Initially, they too rejected him. For 6 long years, Columbus pleaded his case, arguing that if his plan succeeded, Spain would become the richest and most powerful nation on earth. Eventually, in 1492, after much persistence, he received the backing he so desperately sought. On August 3, 1492, Columbus and his crew set sail from the Spanish port of Palos de la Frontera. His expedition consisted of 3 ships: the Nina, small and swift; the Pinta, sturdy and fast; and the Santa Maria, the largest but also the slowest. Columbus was confident, convinced that within a few short weeks he would reach Asia. Yet in reality, he was venturing into the great unknown. At first, the journey was smooth, the sea calm, and spirits high. The crew sang songs, shared stories, and dreamed of the riches they would soon acquire. But as the days turned to weeks, uncertainty crept in. The wind shifted, slowing their progress. Provisions began to dwindle, and fresh water became scarce. Sailors grew restless, murmuring among themselves, doubting their leader. Whispers of mutiny spread through the ships. What if Columbus was wrong? What if they never found land? What if they had ventured too far and were doomed to drift endlessly? Tension reached a boiling point in early October. The men demanded proof that land was near. In a desperate attempt to maintain order, Columbus reassured them, promising untold riches just beyond the horizon. He instructed them to watch for signs: floating vegetation, birds in the sky, changes in water color. Then, on the night of October 11, 1492, the long-awaited moment arrived. Rodrigo de Triana, a sailor aboard the Pinta, spotted land in the distance and cried out, "Tierra! Tierra!" Land had been found. Relief and joy spread among the men. Some wept, others fell to their knees in prayer. On October 12th, they stepped onto an island in the Bahamas. Columbus, believing he had reached islands near India, called the native people Indians. The indigenous Taino people greeted them with kindness, offering fruits, parrots, and handmade goods. They had never seen ships, metal swords, or men in armor before, and many believed Columbus and his men were divine beings. At first, relations were peaceful, but Columbus's obsession with gold soon changed everything. He noticed the Taino wore gold ornaments and became convinced there were vast treasures to be claimed. He quickly took possession of the land in the name of Spain. After several weeks of exploration, Columbus returned to Spain with tales of a new world. He was hailed as a hero, showered with praise, and granted further expeditions. But subsequent voyages were far from glorious. Columbus's treatment of the native people became increasingly ruthless. He demanded gold, took their land, and forced many into labor. When the Taino resisted, he responded with violence, leading to brutal conflicts. The Spanish crown, once enthralled by Columbus, began hearing reports of his harsh governance. In 1500, he was arrested and returned to Spain in chains. Though later pardoned, his reputation was permanently stained. Christopher Columbus made 4 voyages to the Americas. Yet he died in 1506 still believing he had found a new route to Asia, never realizing he had stumbled upon an entirely new continent. His legacy remains deeply contested. Was he a visionary explorer or a ruthless conqueror? A pioneer or a tyrant? His voyages undeniably changed the course of history, opening the door for European expansion, but also leading to the suffering of countless indigenous peoples. Even today, Columbus's impact sparks debate. Some celebrate him as a fearless adventurer who bridged civilizations, while others condemn the destruction his arrival unleashed. Regardless of how one sees him, his story is a powerful reminder of the complexities of history, of ambition, discovery, and the consequences that follow. Now I ask you, was Columbus a hero or a villain? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's continue this discussion.